2026-03 for universal roofing. They have approximately 6 acres off of Union Road as depicted here. They're currently zoned EA, and you'll note they're requesting commercial general zoning on this property. You see a little bit of that zone to the south. Some of you may remember sub-storage several years ago, now Frank's Creek Storage as it's called, and been developed. The RA zoning you see to the southeast is the Union Springs Conservation Subdivision. And you see the rest of it remaining a little bit more agricultural. Future land use does depict it as rural residential, which as discussed in the packet, the rural residential does recommend CC zoning, not CG. However, with the changes in the uses of CC and CG in a particular area over the past few years, staff is, again, supportive of CG zoning with a few conditions. You'll notice some wetlands on the property, and in this area you can see how much of the property is actually taken up by the wetlands there in the property. You'll also notice that's not depicted here. There's a 6-inch gas pipeline running more or less through the property. That dam you saw on the previous slide is more or less where the pipeline is, and then you'll also notice a green 10-inch sewer force main running through the property, rendering most of the portion along Union Road more or less unbuildable, undevelopable. However, you could still consider parking vehicles there or something like that. So, again, just put those pipelines in reference to the property and usability of it overall. The applicant did submit a proposed site plan. You notice they're proposing a 6,000 square foot building for their office and storage of materials. They are a roofing company. They predominantly use heavy duty trucks, usually 2500 series or 250, and a couple trailers for the roofing material to be hauled off. Again, that site plan overlaid with those additional piping there, just to show the only usable area really that can meet their needs is in that back left corner. You'll also note that this property has visibility along I-75, approximately 460 feet, as well as the property fronting Union Road. You see the traffic differences there, the 3,000 to 6,000 traffic count on Union compared to the almost 60,000 average traffic count on I-75. So again, some of the uses from the property, you notice there is a current wood fence there. The applicant has also added some fencing along the I-75 side, which we'll see. They have approximately a 60-foot driveway from Union Road to those gates where the truck is parked. And then we look south towards Frank's Storage in the far distance there, and then Union Springs subdivision on your left. There's a couple of single-family homes immediately follow to the left here. When you pull up at the gates, you can look across the pond there towards that center corner of where the approximation of the building would go, the 6,000 square feet. And as I mentioned, subject property view from I-75. This is a Google Maps street view, so I did not want to be driving while holding a cell phone, so bear with me there. But they have installed a roofing material to a fence there. So we talked about some of the conditions placed on this property for the CG, and staff is supportive of commercial general with those two conditions. Number one being a minimum 10-foot buffer along the eastern edge of the property along Union Road. Breaks in the buffer to allow for the ingress and egress, no problem there. And then the construction of the buffer is allowed to be done concurrent with the development of the property. All of the buffer standards from commercial general next to EA zoning would be applicable along the property and controlled by our landscaping and buffer tree protection standards of ULDC. The other thing would be the particular uses that we don't feel are appropriate for this particular location, those being no clubs, lodges, meeting or event facilities, no alcohol package stores, or gasoline stations, liquor without convenience stores should be allowed on the property. Again, those are staff recommendations. Again, speaking to condition 1, the success of the Frank's Storage that you see here in the Union Springs subdivision, we feel that landscaping and buffering along this section is appropriate to match the character that has been established by the previous establishments. And again, this is an example of that buffer landscaping and some of the material there. You'll notice Frank's Creek used a green material to try to help blend it a little bit more. And then again, view of Frank's Creek Storage from I-75. One of the conditions for that property was buffering on the west side as well, but that was prior to any sort of fencing. Given the applicant's location, their existing fencing, we don't believe that there's any available land for landscaping and buffering outside of their current fencing. There was discussion amongst staff for additional trees to be planted inside the fence to max this area. But again, that was just a discussion to see if they wanted to use existing landscaping or add any additional trees to kind of match the area and view from I-75.
Could you go back to the I-75 view of the subject property? Okay, thank you.
So Again, you can see how close the fence is here, right up against I-75 fence.
Does the fire storage, do that have green fencing toward the interstate?
It does.
Yes, sir. The matching.
It's landscaped very well.
Yeah.
And the green looks much better than the white panels. It's not a good look.
JD, given all the various setbacks and buffers required by the pipelines and what you're gonna ask them to do, do you anticipate they're ever gonna try to do anything, although it would have to be limited on the front side of this property facing Union Road? That would include parking vehicles or anything else. Did that come up?
There was discussion among staff about parking of vehicles up front or any additional signage for the business. That would be the local sign ordinance. Again, I don't see any meaningful development of a building up front given the limited footprint, but parking of vehicles or trailers in this particular case could be something that they could do unless conditioned. We discussed it, and again, didn't feel we needed to put a condition on it at this time, given their proposed site plan and discussion to be as far back in the property and close to I-75 as they have there.
Well, I'll just go ahead and say now, this part of our discussion, that I agree with Roundtree and Bailey, that maybe some type of additional greenery or some type of additional buffering on the I-75 side would be appropriate in my opinion. And I hope we'll make that a condition.
I think it needs to be some kind of pressure treated application or do the same thing they did at the green
Yeah.
and with the fencing on the inside that the other one looks very clean, looks very professional. And this,
Well, the face should be on the other side of the fence.
Correct.
that's correct.
I-75.
Right, a green side, well, if we could, or privacy fence, I don't know, something that's a little bit more attractive.
What about paving and parking? Are they gonna require any?
They'll have to meet, if approved for commercial zoning, they'll have to meet the commercial standards for an improved parking surface. It cannot be grass or dirt. That could be millings or asphalt or crush and run, but that would be him being shown by the county engineer. For improved parking, exception to the ADA, there has to be a solid concrete surface to the building. All those standards would apply, yes, sir.
So you're not asking for any buffer on the 75 side?
I saw that too.
Correct. We are not asking for it, but it was part of the discussion. And again, given their
Part of the conditions, yeah.
given their existing fence location, debated if it needed to be just trees or shrubs, feeling that shrubs would not be seen or be viable outside the fence, but trees planted inside the fence might match the existing facade of Frank Street to the south.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think we're
it's
gonna
just-
get some help with
we
the
gonna-
wording of that.
We're gonna need something to dress it up a little
Yeah,
bit.
agree.
Anything else for staff? Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of this case? Is there anyone here that would like to speak against this case? There being none, any further discussion?
I would just ask that we consider adding a condition to buffer the I-75 side. I don't know how we would word that, but I just think it needs a little more dressing up than what's there currently.
Let me just go ahead and spell it out.
I mean, you could even spray paint what's there green and make it look better than it does now.
I think it would look a lot better if the panels were flipped around to the other side.
No, if they're purple, I don't know.
I think it should be a little bigger as well as green myself.
I do too. Either to match Frank Street storage or dog-eared fence application. With the paneling on the outside. Sir?
What if they decided they wanted to do a green screen, like a continuous vegetative fence? Would that be considered?
Well, yeah, I think we need to give them some leeway. I mean, I don't think we need to dictate exactly what it looks like, but somehow or another, we need to come up with some wording that dresses this up a little bit. I think an opaque green screen is fine with some landscaping. I mean, there's enough natural landscaping there that would enhance it.
Not too much natural on that interstate side.
True that, a little bit. But that's just,
Unacceptable.
or make it part of condition one, that we buffer on the I-75 side, some type of opaque, fencing.
Technically, they have opaque fencing now. And that's
They
where,
do.
You wanna spell the color out?
I want it to read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To match the adjacent property.
Yes. You got this, go ahead and say. Don't be embarrassing.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion that we do recommend approval to the county for REZ 2026-03. However, I would like to amend, condition number one, that we, suggest a buffer on the I-75 portion of the property of an opaque screen, green in color, similar to the neighbor.
Frank's Creek Storage.
Frank's Creek Storage. Along with condition number two as well.
I second that.
Second by Commissioner Hightower.
Council, that makes sense to y'all?
Mr. Chairman?
Or you're just making a recommendation?
That's correct.
is your condition just for the opaque fence, or are you asking for also the landscaping as well?
Yeah, let's do that. Opaque fencing and landscaping,
Trees only, or shrubs, or?
shrubs or trees, make it similar
On
to.
the interstate side?
Well, can you pull back Frank's Creek and let's look at that
I
one?
don't think
I think that one's only tree.
That one's trees and shrubs.
They have to go behind it.
Move the fence back.
Yeah.
Yes, this was done prior to any construction of Frank's Creek, which is why they were able to put the 10-foot buffer between the interstate fence, which you see in the foreground there, the barbed wire more or less.
And then go back to the subject property. Still have to have some shrubs up in there.
Mr. McCall's point, I don't know if they have any visible space between the I-75 fencing in there, wood fencing in there.
So those panels, are they attached to the state's fence?
It's a 3-rail fence and they're just screwed directly to the fence.
The state's fence?
No, sir, that is their fence. So there might be a few inches between the state's fence and.
If they're green, they can take them off and flip them over.
And you know what, I'm cool with that too. I mean, just leaving the natural landscaping as long as the fence is on this side of the split rail fence, you know what I'm saying?
JD, would it inhibit,
Yeah.
JD, sorry to interrupt, would it inhibit what they're planning to put there if they had to do their greenery behind the existing fence?
Based on setbacks, I do not believe it would inhibit it.
It's tight though.
The greenery will eventually get big enough to be seen and have to be like a screen.
Correct. Now, again, when staff was discussing it, it was mainly, do we just require trees to be planted in accordance with the buffer standards, leaving the fence in its current location?
I'd rather do the opposite. I'd rather not ask for any landscaping and have a nicer fence.
Absolutely,
And they're,
absolutely. Green panels on the interstate side of the property, subject property.
And you can leave out the landscaping on it if you like that.
okay.
You got that?
Got it.
So we're all green panels the same as the Front
Yes.
Street?
Yes.
With no required landscaping, just use natural
We
landscaping.
got a second on that?
So you're still seconding
I'm still
the
seconding
motion?
what the last thing that was said.
Yeah, yeah, we're just not asking for any additional landscaping.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
All in favor?